Well, hello guys. It's been a while, but we're back. How you all doing? It's Sunday night. Have you missed us? I know we're a bit late. We had a few technical problems, so we of course have to sort them out so that we look presentable for you. It's been about 6 weeks since we've been here, and to be quite honest, it's been steamy, balmy, hot, sweaty London, and it has not made me want to do a podcast, especially from this room. So, and been busy, been super busy, so like had to take a break. So, I hope you all missed us. What have you done on the Sunday night? I mean, no Wicked. What did you do? Um, so here we are. Now, if you're a loyal watcher of Wicked Women, you'd have noticed on our YouTube channel, Wicked Women 888, you would have seen the next 5 weeks are already booked with some really, really good shows. There are going to be potentially 2 weeks in August that we are not here. But apart from that, we're good to go. So I'm coming from South London. How you all doing? Thank you so much for joining us. I have a good show, I think. I have been talking to a few women who are, this subject has come up, and I'm going to be talking about it. I also have my counterpart from Virginia, not Val. I haven't spoken to Val in a long time, so I need to talk to Val and see how she is and what's going on. So, I hope she's doing well. Wish her all the best. And we need to talk to her real soon. I've just been so super busy. So I have really got to catch up with her for sure. Apart from that, I am going to bring in my counterpart from Virginia, who I've dragged on tonight because he wasn't actually going to come on, but he's here with us anyway. And I'm going to put this to one side for a minute. And bring up our lovely banner, because I have a new banner. Where it is, I believe it's here. Nope, that's the logo. You can tell I've been away for 6 weeks, can't you? Because I'm like, which one is it? Where is it? Here we go. There it is. It's going to come in. Oh, look, we're going to use this one, I think, tonight. We've got a choice of 3, and I'm going to go for this one. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring in my counterpart. Michael, how you doing?
Hello. It's a little bit of a struggle and a rush to get here,
But you're here.
I'm here.
And it's nice to be back because it's been 6 weeks, right?
Oh yeah, the time flies. Y'all were sweltering in the heat. I see Noah out there, rounding the animals up 2 by 2 here. We're heavy rains and flooding and all that. And
Now, we were talking just before we came on with technical difficulties because I've got to change my mic and I've got to upgrade everything, and it's been something I'm meaning to do because it's just not coming across the way I want it, and the same with yours. So hopefully people can hear us and it sounds all right, because let's get down to the show, and I'm going to bring in the lovely little banner which actually says what it is about tonight: the return of sexy. Now, I'm sure when people saw this, they thought, what the hell is the return of sexy? Hulk 102 degrees there. You can keep that. I am not interested in that. We are trying to get rid of it, of the UK. You can keep that. Okay, so Michael, let's look at the subject we were talking about. So, welcome to Wicked Women. Tonight's show is called The Return of Sexy, and Michael and I are here to help you look at a subject that a lot of ladies and a lot of guys have talked to me and probably Michael about as well, as in the fact that I'm going to bring up a few subjects, and then Michael and I can have a bit of a chat about them. So, Michael, when you look, in the old days when you used to go to the newsagent and you see lots of magazines with sexy looking women and, and guys, people be like, that's sexy. That's what sexy is. Not the woman that you would go home and look at in the mirror. Perhaps if you were looking at guys, perhaps not the man you were looking at in the mirror. So I don't know about you, but as along the way, it's taken me a long time of my life to feel sexy, a long time to feel it. And even there are days where some things happen, like, stress, illness, etc., comes along, and I don't feel sexy anymore.
I'm with you with, like you said, with illness and a lot of times with mental health, like men. And I think I've told you a lot of times people see a side of me that I don't see no more. I feel, old and broken, and I don't feel, like the man I was 20 years ago. And and it plays on your mind. But there's people who age iconically. The older they get, the sexier they get. Jennifer Anderson, that woman was in her mid 50s, absolutely gorgeous. And I ask people like on the guy side, I talk about Sam Elliott. They're from like 18 to 108. Cannot get enough of that big push broom mustache, or Tom Selleck. That's another one. It must be something with the big mustache. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But I was looking, even Betty White. That poor woman was 100 years old, funny, sexy, you know, just as she would say, cheeky. She was there, and I don't know how they do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think sexy is something you put on in the morning, just like you would your favorite shirt or perfume or cologne. Either you have it or you don't, and you can lose it because you can lose it in here, you can lose it in here, and it takes you a while to get it back. See what
Well, I mean,
Arlene's over here.
I did see that Tom Selleck is hot. The thing is, for me, I never actually, everyone talks about this is sexy, that is sexy. But actually, somewhere along the way, life hands us different roles. Mother, you have to be the strong one, the reliable one, the wife, the daughter, the carer, the professional, the husband, the father, the woman who keeps the world turning, and it's like along the way, you forget who you are. You forget the fact that you were this sexy person at one point who actually could walk in a room and the room would be like, wow, when she walks in.
Yeah.
So much confidence, because we stop seeing ourselves that way. We stop feeling desirable, and we stop feeling alive. And that's something that I think I've said to you quite a few times in my life. I feel like I'm existing and not living. I don't feel, like I can walk in a room and because I'm tall, blonde, and I have big boobs, people are going to look. Of course they do. But it's like, and I really don't care now when I walk in a room, because if people look, they look. But there was a time in my life where I would walk in a room and I was like so shy that I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to handle myself. I didn't feel sexy. And it's taken me to almost 40 years to actually understand what feeling sexy, feeling confident really, really is good. Because we stop feeling ourselves, we stop feeling alive. And tonight isn't about looking younger. It's about turning back the clock. It's not dressing for someone else, because what? I'm going to bring in these lovely pictures, and Michael, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. When we were growing up in the 70s. Oh, where you gone? You're back here somewhere. Where's you gone? There we go. There we are. This lady was like, every woman wanted to be this lady. Every woman wanted to be Farrah Fawcett, and this pinup was on so many people's walls, wasn't it? I mean, I just remember literally seeing this poster of Farrah Fawcett everywhere. Did you have this poster on your wall, Michael? Why can't I hear you? I can't hear you now. Oh my God. What's going on? What is going on? 1 second. See what I mean, guys? We've had nothing but technical problems with this all night. But Michael will be back on in a second. But literally, that's better. This was the woman that's great. This is the thing we all wanted to be. We wanted to be confident like Farrah Fawcett. Women wanted to have her body. She was married to Lee Majors, the Bionic Man. She was in Charlie's Angels. She looked really cool. And because then we go to this lovely lady of Daisy Duke. She was another one in the 70s that, this was sexy. Red bikini, you notice that both these women in these photographs are wearing red, right? And
They
I'm,
named a pair of shorts after her, the Daisy Duke cut shorts that came
yeah.
from the TV show.
And then we have this lovely lady as well, looking back here. Let's have a look. Let's bring her on. Where's she gone? Do you remember her? Heather Locklear?
Oh yeah, yeah. She was married to the drummer from Motley Crue,
From Bon
Tommy Lee.
Jovi.
No, Tommy
Yeah.
Lee. Yeah, Tommy Lee. Yeah.
She was also a Sammy Joe in Dynasty. But growing up, these were sort of the women that we wanted to look like. And over here, this was a woman that a lot of us wanted to look like. This was Samantha Fox. She's very well known in the UK. She was a page 3 girl in the Sun newspaper, which was a massive thing. Like Katie Price and Samantha Fox all started their career on page 3. I'm getting a slight echo with your microphone now. I know. I'm wearing red too. I mean, yeah.
Hawk said that Tommy Lee was married to Pam. He was married to Pam after her. He was married to the other one early in his career because he writes about it in the book, The Dirt.
That's right. And then I've got this other lady which I put on. I mean, she was really popular in the 80s. Cindy Crawford.
Oh yeah, Cindy. Her and her beauty mark. Yeah.
With the mom, right?
Yeah, I always wanted to go by and take and say.
So to be honest, like when I was growing up, this is what sexy was. It was like you want to be like these women, great bodies, great boobs, long legs. You look perfect. Unfortunately, real women, and they are real women, but everyday women, we can't always be like that. For me, my point was gone.
A lot of it was Photoshop, though. A lot of that, and that's before people understood what Photoshop was. A lot of their photos was doctored in picture and all that. And I hate to like shit on them or whatever because they're all gorgeous women and stuff. But a lot of people developed like eating disorders or they got body dysmorphia and stuff because they would see, and I always like Samantha Fox. I always thought she was just the shit. But people who seen her on page 3 did not realize that there was a team of people that went totally over her.
Helped her look good.
It's the blemish on her butt or whatever. They airbrushed that out, and now I see like pictures on Facebook or Instagram or these other things, and now we got tools like AI that can go in and it can polish a turd. You know what I'm saying? I'm like damn, but no, it's.
Well, yeah, everything changes. But I mean, when we were growing up, like, I don't know about you, but I came from a generation where, women were not taught to be sexy. We were not taught to be sexy. You didn't, and if you showed too much leg, and we all did it at school, we kind of pulled our school skirt up so it was really mini, or we would like pull our shirts or leave our shirts unbuttoned, and then get a real telling off from the teachers. But I think for me, it was like I didn't feel like I didn't feel sexy. I didn't know what it was. I guess, it wasn't until I got into the 80s and I found role models that I could really relate to. And Madonna as well came along and kind of showed women that it was okay to have your bra up, with the cone bra. It was okay to do all that. But I think you and I were saying that at our age, in our decade that we are, we don't lose being sexy overnight. We lose it through having too much on our plate, exhaustion, looking after kids, being in a bad relationship, someone who's toxic, someone who takes it from you, someone who tells you you're not sexy anymore. You don't do it for me. You don't make an effort enough. You don't look hot enough. Go to the gym, lose some weight. Maybe if you wore this, you would look sexy. Maybe you've got a disability. Maybe you're ill, grief, trauma, etc., etc. Life has a way of convincing us girls that everyone else matters more than we do. So, for instance, and I want you to give me an example of you for you in a second, but when I was married in my second marriage, I didn't feel sexy because my ex-husband was not sexual. He didn't want to have sex a lot. He wasn't really into it. So I didn't feel desired or wanted. So I was kind of like, I guess I'm not sexy then. And that went on for probably the whole of our marriage. And it wasn't until I came out of that marriage that I realized that absolutely I was sexy and I had been stifling. And then I got and dated people that actually were like, you know, you're sexy. What about you? What did you go through?
I always just thought I was just like everybody else. I've never seen anything that ever stood out. And I had people like, oh, you're this, and still, I I don't see it. I told them 20 years ago, maybe, but like you said, after you get older and you have disabilities and things come up and hit you and sideline you, and you take yourself out. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows that I have the dogs and stuff. And now I don't look like, oh, I'm Michael. I go to the bed. I'm Miles' dad. I'm Poseidon's dad. Or, with Michael Allen here, somebody says, oh, that's Michael's dad. I'm thinking, well, damn, I'm Michael too. And you just kind of slow that roll and you just kind of pull back. And
so when did you last feel sexy?
I don't know. Damn, that's a good question.
When did you look in the mirror and go, do you know what? You look good.
That reminds me, and we joked about this before. When you get out of the shower and you're looking at the full length mirror, you're like, I do me. Like I said, it's but you brought up a thing and I hear this, and I get asked things all the time about, wonder if I'm married to somebody who was asexual. I had to go home and look it up, and it plays. If the man is not like really into sex or the touchy feely stuff or whatever, and the partner, the woman is more into it or whatever, and and I had a conversation the other day about that, and I was told, you don't understand how frustrating it is. I said, oh, I can see it on your face. I've been around. I've been married.
It is frustrating.
You know what I'm saying? I've been married enough times to know that I can see disappointment on a woman's face. You know what I'm saying? And it's
the thing is, it's like if you're with a partner, and I think there's people out there watching this that will understand. If you have a partner and your sex life, sometimes people base how sexy they are on their sex life. If they're having loads of sex and their partner's chasing them, they feel like, well, I'm desirable, they want me. And then all of a sudden, if you don't have a partner who's chasing you or is desirable, it's like, well, then what's wrong with me? Why don't you want me? And I think that we class ourselves sexy as on the partner we're with, and actually we shouldn't do that. We should class ourselves on how we see ourselves, not how someone else does it.
But and some people are just so full of themselves and think are like, the bee's knees or whatever. And it's like, damn, you need to turn that back because you're not all you think you are. And I have seen that too. And I joke about, everybody's talking about, oh, I want to go to this closed on optional place. I want to go, to like this resort where you can go like topless on the beach. And I've told them, the people you see naked on the beach is not the ones you desire to see naked. The ones that actually look good naked probably have low confidence and don't want to be naked in front of somebody. And the ones who have no business being naked in front of somebody has all the confidence in the world just to put it out there for the whole world to look at. And I've seen that. So, it can go both ways. And I'm like, no, just stay in your lane, buddy.
I mean, sex is a really important part of a relationship. It's not the be all and end all, but it's an important part of it. And I think to be in a healthy relationship, it's going to go through peaks and troughs where sometimes you're not having sex every night. Sometimes you don't want to have sex every night, but you still want to feel desirable by the partner you're with. And relationships still are confidence. If we let them, relationships will still our confidence. And sometimes, I've been in one, the compliments become fewer, affection starts to disappear, they start they stop flirting with you, and that's really important. Intimacy starts to get less and less and less. And sometimes when you do have sex, or you dress up and you think, oh, I'm going to look good, you get criticized. What are you wearing that for? Are you really wearing that out? Or ignored, or you're taken for granted, or you're made to feel like you're no longer attractive. And so what happens is, and I've seen this in so many relationships, the sexy woman they were, or the sexy guy they were when they got together, they start to become a shadow of their former selves.
That they fade. I was looking over here, and when I was talking about the clothing option, it wasn't that sexy. It's we did a thing about the horror women like Elvira, Lily Monster, and them women was always sexy, and they was fully clothed, and it's something about presentation and so I understand what he says about sexy being a state of mind. The way they wore their outfit, the way they portrayed themselves, that's a little risque, kind of off limits, taboo. And taboo can be sexy if you're into golf girls that may cut you or cut whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't know if you're going to be a date or a sacrifice. And this sounds horrible, but I know a lot of guys. If a woman don't have a whole bucket full of red flags, they don't find them sexy. I think it's the danger aspect they like about it. I don't know, but
I think for me it was like sometimes you marry someone and they go to the gym or they take care of themselves, and obviously over time our bodies change. We all lose weight, we put weight on, we get ill, we have all kinds of things happening, and I think that we stop making an effort. What I always say to people is, and I've got that feedback coming through to you, Michael. I can hear it.
No,
I can hear it on mine, and I've tried my end. It's just it won't go. But literally, I will see in a minute. They always they put weight on, or they don't care about how they look, because it's like, oh God, I've been with them a million years. But the thing is, for me, it's about confidence. It's about a state of mind. It's about, I look good for me. And it doesn't begin with buying a new wardrobe or changing my body. It begins with changing the conversation that you have with yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you, oh, you're beautiful, you're sexy, I want you. You got to start believing it yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, and as that lovely guy says, oh my God, I've forgotten his name now. If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love someone else? What's his name? What's his name?
I don't know. I always thought.
Oh God, I can hear it's the drag queen guy. RuPaul.
RuPaul. Yeah.
RuPaul.
He said, Lord.
Yeah, that's a private joke. I would just completely ignore that one. I know exactly what he's on about there. So literally, let's have a look at that, because at the end of the day, Michael, when you walk in a room, do you feel like you command it, or do you feel like you're just in the background now?
A little both. My personality is so over the top most of the time that everybody knows I'm in the room. I'm a Gemini. I was always told you walk into the room like you own it or don't give a fuck who does.
100%.
And I still have a lot of that mentality. I'm like, I don't care. I'll walk across the street in front of traffic. What the hell? They can stop. It's to that point. And I'm like, no, and I'm like, I don't get it. But
and when I reached a certain part of my life, I started to watch Sex and the City, and Samantha was such a role model for so many of us girls, because here was a woman who didn't care about what people thought about her. She didn't follow the rules. She followed her own rule book. And up to that point, there wasn't a Samantha Jones. There hadn't been a Samantha Jones. And Kim Cattrall was an older woman, and here she was having sex because she liked it and she wanted it, and she didn't apologize for it. And you know, she was such a role model. And you had the four other women, Miranda, Charlotte, and Carrie, and they were all different. And it was like, you know, when we were growing up, it was like, which woman do I want to be? Do I want to be a bit of Carrie? Do I want to be a bit of Samantha? And I think in all of us, we have a piece of those women. And then we had Mr. Big, and we had Aidan, and then Steve, who married Miranda. And most people were like, do you want to be Mr. Big? So when you walk in a room, you got money, you got power, women just wanted you? Or did you want to be Aidan, who was, you know, I always preferred Aidan, who was good looking, you know, worked, kind, was down to earth, but had his own insecurities. And which one did you watch Sex and the City? Did you watch it, Michael?
Not by choice, but I have been kidnapped to watch it before.
Kidnapped.
I watched it. I watched it against my will. I was a prisoner of war. Yeah.
Which did you see what the characters I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, and that's like we talked about the other day when he said, "Oh, he's talking about the lady that does her own line or whatever." I was like, "Oh, I know enough about Sex in the City to pull up an hour or two about Sex in the City." But
well, Samantha changed everything, didn't she, for women, especially in my generation.
Yeah, Hulk said she was a horn dog. No, she did what she wanted, and she's unapologetic for it.
And she also wrote a book. She wrote a book. I think it was. I've got to find the name of her book. But I bought it, and for me, Kim Cattrall. I remember in Mannequin. Do you remember in Mannequin?
Oh, absolutely.
She was also in Star Trek, wasn't she?
Yep.
Her book. What was her book called? I should know it because I have it upstairs.
7 and 9 was always my pick on Star Trek.
The Art of Satisfaction. That's the name. That was the name of the book, and I bought it, and it's quite explicit. Let's put it that way. She doesn't leave much to the imagination. But how many men and women do you think watching us tonight are having the sex life they want and actually feeling sexy? What do you think the percentage is?
Probably about 10% that are. And I tell people that because a lot of people, they get in a routine, they get drugged down with life, and life just keeps kicking you, and then they settle then they get complacent, and it's like, yeah, he said, yeah, it's like I said, I look at it, and and she takes her notes, and I told her, I said, all mine's in my head because this shit runs through my head all the time. I'm always asking myself, how does this work, or why does this work? And I look at people around me. Everybody's like my little thought experiment when I go out. I kind of get why people watch, because human beings are interesting creatures.
Well, you're quite right with that 10%, because 60 to 75% of adults in long-term relationships, 60 to 75, so we're over halfway, report being at least somewhat satisfied with their sex life, which means 1 in 4 to 1 in 3 people are dissatisfied or feel something is missing. And desire, like it has changed through life events as children, stress, illness, menopause, taking care of elderly parents, aging, and also putting weight on as well. I mean, those are, seriously. And many, about 15 to, this is so common. I've heard this. 15 to 20% of married couples report having sex 10 or fewer times a year.
Oh, yeah. Then it's scheduled. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I was not even probably having 10 times a year when I was married in my previous marriage.
Oh, what is it? I'll tell the kids, never give your dad a kiss on his birthday or Christmas.
It was like special occasions, like anniversaries, and if you were lucky, birthday. And it was like, why don't you want me? And I think what happens is I put all my sexiness, all my confidence on him and my marriage and my relationship. Now I don't do that. Now I've learned it's with me. Now it stops with me. Because when I was growing up, Michael, we saw little girls was, Disney fairy tales, fashion magazines, television, music videos. That's what is being sexy. Why can't you be like that? Why can't you look like that? Thin, perfect, effortless. Um,
Airbrushed, airbrushed.
well, now, absolutely, but maybe not so much back then.
But but everybody wanted to be a Hollywood Scarlet or whatever you call it, and but but they starved themselves. They was taking
They
all
did.
of the like diet pills to lose weight, and in the gym all the time doing the hot yoga or whatever, and it was a lot of work, but that was their job, was to look like that. Their
Mm.
look was their currency. But
But
and
the thing about it as well, Michael, when we were growing up, and I have to come back because we're looking at our generation here, like
yeah,
you, it was frowned on. Like now you've got to be careful what you say to people, because if you
oh
compliment them or you can't wolf whistle, you can't say much
no,
because you can get accused of being inappropriate, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
when
me
we were
too.
growing up, we loved being wolf whistled because we were like, that's it, it's brilliant, I'm officially sexy. It's
Yeah,
changed so much out there.
yeah. I'm over here reading. He said, "Whose fault is it, men or women that are not having sex more than 10 times a year?" I've heard both sides. Sometimes it's the man's fault. Sometimes it's the woman's fault. Um, like I said, I know a situation where that it is, the guys who don't want to do it, and I've heard stories from men where their wife has a constant headache. I said, you just need to invest in Tylenol. Give her 2 Tylenols before you go to bed every night. Ain't nobody can have a chronic headache that much. So
But
it could be so it could be 50-50. You know what I'm saying? It's you can't lay the blame at nobody's feet.
well,
And
Hulk's got a good point because he's not
you know,
alone. Because millions of women
yeah,
and men feel they've lost that spark. Sexy
oh yeah,
isn't disappearing because you're getting older. It's buried under stress, responsibility, self doubt, and feeling unseen. How many people feel unseen in their relationships? They're like,
yeah,
"Hi, I am here," and people just like, why is it, and I said this to someone this morning, why is it that we get into a relationship and then someone stops wanting to have sex with us? They just like, oh, I've gone off it, or why is that? And yes, you can put on all these things like getting older and blah 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 blah, but at the end of the day, with women, let's look at women with this. Women are more likely than men to say the emotional connection, feeling desired, and good communication are essential to a satisfying sex life, where men will rate that feeling wanted and emotionally connected very highly. You're a man. Let's ask you, Michael, what would
yeah.
you say is in a relationship makes you feel desired and sexy?
I mean, hey, tell me I'm a good boy. Feed me twice a week and fuck me 4 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll figure out the other day I'm wrong. But a man wants to be wanted. He wants to be treated like a man. And I joke about that. I tell him, and Steve, if he's in here, probably remember when I talk about men are trainable. Men are we're simple creatures, and I'm trying not to be whatever. But my mom always said, you take care of the basic things with your man, and it's like, and I've heard these other things. Says never let your man leave the house hungry or horny because there'll be some whore outside with a sandwich in her pocket. And, as I'm saying, a man just wants, he wants to feel wanted and needed, and because I always said, men are fixers. You know what I'm saying? Let him fix your car, let him fix the lawnmower, let him fix things around the house. And women are nesters. They're more nurturing. And I always said, if you let her nurture and you take care of the nest, you know what I'm saying? Because her nest is her home, and that's what and I told somebody the other day, it's 4th of July weekend. I said, there's a reason that the male redbird is so red, the cardinal, and the female is light brown. The man is there to like pull danger away from the nest, because the female's taking care of the nest, and and the little ones, and he's over there carrying sticks and he's building or whatever, and that's what nature is intended. And when you get away from that, is where you start having issues. I told one the other day. I said, we need to feminine you up just a little bit more. I said, let him be a man. Don't always criticize or whatever. Oh, I could do that better, or why ain't you doing that right? Let him be a man. And once you start taking that away from a man, if they don't feel like a man, they're not going to act like a man. And I always said, you don't beat him like a borrowed pony and expect him to be a stud when you take him in the house. And then, like I said, I joke about the other stuff. If like I said, you pat him on the back, you scratch his head just like you would your puppy. Men are inherently law. I said, there's a law that sometimes they're stupid with it. And like I said, you feed them occasionally, screw them. You know what I'm saying? Tell them they did a good job, whether they did or not. Praise goes a long way.
So you're saying that, because Hawk's come up with a good point here, that how do you get sexy back into your life given responsibilities, stress, and other bullshit that occupies our minds as adults, or is sexy for the young only? And I'm going to give you some points here, women and men, to how you can get back feeling sexy. Let me just take this quote off. So first of all, stop seeing yourself through the eyes of someone else, because if you're sort of asking, do they still fancy me? Do I look good enough? Am I too old, too big, too fat, too small, too tired, or whatever? Instead, start looking and going, how am I feeling? Am I feeling good about myself? Do I look in the mirror? Do I look in the mirror? Do I like what I see? Am I feeling good about myself? Wear clothes that you want to wear. Go down the gym, work out. You get back to a point where you're feeling good about yourself, because don't see yourself through that person's eyes. Sexy begins when you stop asking permission to feel it. And also, there are relationships, Michael, where they don't like you wearing certain clothes because it accentuates your figure, or it shows your boobs off, or if a guy's got tight jeans on, it can show off everything. They're like, no, I don't want you wearing that. No, if you wear that, women are going to look at you, men are going to look at you.
The package print. He asked another question. Boy, Hawk's full of good questions tonight. I need to call Hawk. It says, do women consider men sexy or tools for sex?
Well, I think definitely you've got women that would definitely answer yes to both of those things. But I also think as well, you've got to look at your relationship you're in. And if it's not ticking your boxes, and if it's not floating your boat, you have to ask yourself a question: do I need to stay in this, or do I need to get out? Because these are the things that we're doing a show coming up in a couple of weeks about men and sexiness. But what we're talking about is you're in a relationship or you're single and you don't feel sexy anymore. And it's like your partner doesn't see you as sexy, or you don't see yourself as sexy anymore. What do you do to go, fuck this shit? I want to get my sexiness back. Well, it's about having confidence. It's about, having humor can be sexy. Intelligence is very sexy. Having someone who's passionate, who's got a curiosity, who, when you walk in a room, their eyes are on you in a good way. You laugh until your stomach hurts. Even if you're traveling alone, like you're getting on a plane and you're traveling across the world and you've got the confidence to do it, that is sexy. It's because, it's passion. It's also having boundaries and saying no and yes. And also for me, it was like not actually caring about what that person thought anymore. I moved out of that relationship. I focused on me. I got my life back together. I got my figure back together. I went and bought some pretty amazing clothes. And I was like, wow. I mean, for a man, Michael, what would you suggest a guy can do to feel like he's getting his mojo and his sexy back?
I was talking about Austin Powers, and a lot of men, they did that as a joke. I said, I've lost my mojo when they stole his mojo. And once you lose your mojo, it's hard to get back. But he says, stop wearing pants. Yeah, I Pooh Bear here all the time. That makes me feel sexy. And if you don't know what Pooh Bearing is, it's just a t-shirt.
How can they find it?
I don't know. Like I said, I've been working on it, but like I said, I think get out of your own head and get out of your own way to start with. And from what Carlene was saying, grow a big push broom mustache like Tom Selleck. Just get it so it's just like big and pushed in. But no, it's hard. Like I said, I'd go work out. I would get outside more, do some manly stuff like go outside and split some firewood or go fishing. I know fishing and hunting ain't a lot of guys' things, but I feel better. I feel more manly
So
when
what
I'm
you're
down.
saying is that they take time for themselves because
That's it. Yeah, self
men.
care.
I'm going to give
Go
some
get a haircut.
points.
I'm overdue. You know what I'm saying? I go to Sports Clip and I see the ladies up there, and I come out there and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, these women do magic with these fucking scissors. I don't look like that, and they do, and it
So
makes me feel a whole lot better. Take care of yourself.
taking care of yourself, like getting a haircut, growing
Absolutely.
or sorting out your beard, wearing clothes, looking
Yeah.
after, and basically looking after their health, exercise, sleep well. But also, this is a really big one for men to remember: you want to feel respected and appreciated, because
Absolutely.
if you don't feel that, you are not going to want to have sex with your partner very easily,
No,
because you're like, you don't respect me, you don't appreciate me,
no.
you take me for granted. And also, if you're not some partners will say if they're not emotionally connected to their partner anymore, sex goes out the window. I mean, I can't disagree with you on that point. When a sexy woman pays the slightest attention to them,
Yeah.
yeah, but if you're also confident in yourself, you don't need someone to pay to actually pay your attention, because you're like, I'm sexy and I know it, babe.
It's what does it call it? Confirmation or whatever. And me, a lot of times, people say things and I brush it off because I don't never feel like that I'm the one, the guy I used to be. And they're like, "Oh, did it?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And you get numb to it. And after a while, and after, like you said, health issues and sickness and just the bullshit of life, sometimes you get real tone deaf to a lot of things that you shouldn't be tone deaf to. It's like they talk about going nose blind or whatever. You can't smell the smell in the room because you're around it all the time. And that's my issue right now that I'm trying to get back to is that whole mindset. And like I said, and me and Wendy talk about that. This last bit of illness took a lot out of me, and I was like, nope. And it's been a fight to get it back, and it's not been an easy fight. So, but I'll tell people, don't give up, keep digging.
I
You know,
think you've got a good point there, because if you are ill and you
yeah,
spend a lot of time in bed, or you have disabilities, or
yeah,
perhaps your partner's not ill but you are, and you've been in bed for a long time, you can't be the woman or the man that you once were at that particular moment, because and if you've got a great partner, they'll understand that, and it won't be an issue. But for some people, it will be an issue, because they're like, you don't want to have sex anymore. You're too exhausted all the time. And I know for me, I went through that in my relationships where I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't just like bounce across the room like I once used to, because wasn't feeling great. So there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of guilt there of like, I'm not a true partner because I cannot give you what you want. I also think as well, like, when you're dating someone and you're not getting the attention from them, you start talking to someone else and they start giving you the attention, and then you start getting the confidence back because someone else is giving me attention.
yeah.
But do you take that further, or do you just take that for what it is, Michael? Do you just take it for the fact that it's a purpose, or
Yeah.
because you want it to go somewhere?
Oh, years ago, my mom used to tease me. She'd tell me about keeping like three in rotation. And I said, well, if one don't work out, you always have a backup plan for the backup plan. But the older I get, it's more like I don't have the energy for that no more. And I'm like, no. And I take it for a compliment, that it's intended to be. And I don't pursue it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're with someone, you're with someone. And that goes back to a respect thing or whatever. And if you're, but now there is, no, I'm not going to crap on the people who are like poly or whatever, or open marriage or whatever. That's a whole different show that we need to do. It's swingers. But you know what I'm saying? And some people like to have their partner complimented or whatever because it does something to their ego. And I'm like, so you don't know. Like, so me, I just kind of smile and nod and say thank you and move on.
I mean, for me, I mean, in my past, looking at some of the situations, I I definitely believe and have experienced, if you're in a relationship and something happens, and in my incident, in this particular one, I've been in a long-term relationship. I had lost a baby, and my partner at the time, his mom was dying of cancer. Our relationship went down. Our relationship went down the Swanee very, very easily, and I found myself feeling so. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do to help him. I didn't know what to do for the best. So I kind of reverted back into myself and pulled away. We ended up splitting up, which broke my heart, which devastated me because I didn't want that to happen. And as I say, I don't hide anything. I always speak as I am. And sometime later, I ended up dating his friend, which wasn't really the best decision I've ever made on the planet. But at the end of the day, I felt not wanted in that relationship, so I ended it, and I came out. And I suppose there was a part of me that actually wanted to feel wanted. And so you start chatting to other people, you start, laughing and joking with them, and you start feeling like you are wanted or human or desirable again. And then, if it goes down that road, it goes down that road. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. For me now, God, now I don't need to be in a relationship to feel desirable. I don't need a guy to make me feel desirable. It's like, no, babe, it's about what I feel in here and in here. And I think Michael, our age, gives us that confidence.
Yeah.
Do you not think so?
Oh yeah, like I said, I was thinking real quick before I forget it, and I'm trying not to have a squirrel moment. But you hit on something: sickness with a parent, loss of a child. And I've heard these people's like, life. It is the only thing you never get out of love, or out of life. There's no handbook for the things we go through in life: love, hate, loss of a
Yeah.
miscarriage, whatever, or sickness when it comes to like a partner or extended family member like a mother-in-law or father-in-law or vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah.
And there's not no handbook at that, and the only way you learn is by doing. And what works for me might not work for Hawk or one of the other people. You know what I'm saying? It's all an independent type life thing that you go through, and that way, and it's a learning process. And sometimes it's a shitty process, but you got to go out through, and you got to absorb it, take it on, and learn. And you're going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect with it. I make them every day. You know what I'm saying? And I do
But
the
I,
best I
but I
can to make
also
it
think
wrong.
that you've hit a point on there, is that as we go through our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
Yeah.
we deal with things so differently. I think our confidence level gets to a point in our, certainly I would say mid to late 40s, to our 50s. We get to a point where we actually feel like I don't need someone else to compliment me. I don't need to have other people give me that attention because I'm confident about myself. And I think when we're younger, in our 30s and 20s, there is that perhaps insecurity. Maybe I need to be thinner. Maybe I need to have bigger boobs. Maybe my appendage isn't the right size or whatever. We go through so much in our head, um, and I think so a lot of people think, well, I'm not sexy anymore. And as I said, I've got to a point in my life where I'm comfortable. I don't need to worry about, I need loads of attention. I dress for me. I feel comfortable in me. confidence is everything. Confidence changes everything, but it's getting that confidence. If you've lost it and you're in a relationship where you're getting berated or put down by your partner, or if you're not getting the desirable, I would say you need to ask yourself, do you need to still be in that relationship? If that relationship is not giving you what you need, then you need to either, or you need to like have a big conversation and go, look, this is not fulfilling me anymore. So how are you doing? And if this is not working for you, where are we going to go from here? I mean, as a woman, if you want to go out and buy loads of lingerie, go to Ann Summers. Find what makes you feel good. If that takes you on that journey, then I'd say do it. If you want to go as a guy, you want to go down the gym, you want to work out, you want to buy loads of clothes, whatever you want to do what you need to do to bring your sexy back. There isn't one perfect body, but confidence is the most sexy thing. When you see a guy and he's got passion and he's got drive and he's got ambition and he knows what he wants to do, same as a woman. You know, when you've got a woman who knows what she wants and she won't, take no for an answer, it's incredibly sexy because you're like, here is someone who's not going to take no. They're not going to take bullshit. And I mean, Michael, what do you find sexy in a woman?
Well, used to it was big boobs, tight bum. But the older I get, emotional intelligence, loyalty, you know what I'm saying? Compassion, caring, kindness. I know that sounds like just keywords that I'm touching, you know what I'm saying? Like something you need to read out of a book, but with age. And I see that. And it seems like the older I get, the softer I get. You know, I'm not the guy running through walls no more. I'm the one who, petting puppies and holding kids, and it's just, and you kind of get in that like an old grandpa like stage or whatever, and Anastasia.
But do you think you've lost? Do you think you've lost your sexiness?
Oh no! I just misplaced it sometimes.
But how do you find him? How do you bring it out?
I was thinking Apple AirTag or something. I don't know, but it's when I find him. But some days I get up when I feel good. Like I said, when I go on the farm and I'm busting wood or whatever, or I'm moving around and doing like manly stuff or whatever, or and sometimes when I carry myself the way, and and when I say everybody has a persona that they carry on their face,
They do.
and sometimes it's easier to carry that than it is other days. And some days I still feel like it, man. I'll walk into a room and he'll be turned up to 11, and other days, he's barely a participation. He don't even get a participation trophy. So, but the better I feel every day, the more he comes back.
So and, if you had a younger woman chatting to you and making you feel good, would that make you feel like you were still sexy?
Oh no, I had the trophy wife, and hell, and maybe if I had never been down that road before, but they're a lot of work. How can you think I got all this gray hair and gray beard, dating kids?
That's to me. It's like I think when a younger guy chats you up, I just think, oh God, I remember music the first time round, love, before you were even born. That's how I see it.
I said I'm not into the training stage anymore, and me and Wendy, like I said, we're talking about different things, and like I said, I'm going through some things and changes and stuff, and I told her, I said, those who can't do anymore teach. And then I've teased her about me being in my teaching phase because I am so tired of all the games and all the bullshit and all the things that come with it. And I even told her, I said, I can tell guys what not to fucking do. I've got a whole list of them things.
If you experience.
Experience. That's it. I can go down the checklist. If you want to start a fight today, this is what you do.
Because really confidence and experience is sexy. I'm going to bring up a point that Hawks brought up about, can elderly people be sexy? Better yet, should they try? And I think he means someone who are in their, it depends what you mean by elderly. Do you mean 70s to 80s? Because quite frankly, 60 is not elderly anymore.
Oh,
Um,
hell no,
and
not while I'm getting close to it. Oh,
and
no.
not even 70 is elderly anymore. So I'm kind of going, do you mean older? And I think the truth is, yes, they still can be sexy, and if they want to be, why not?
Betty White, you know what I'm saying? Betty White was getting it in, you know what I'm saying? Betty was a bad woman. And
I
I don't
mean,
know if Hulk has
who?
ever told the story about my grandpa in the nursing home.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, yeah. My mom was calling me, Michael, he's going through these women like they're disposable. And he was. But he hit me with bro code. I was like, Papa, you need to stop. He's like, you want me to tell you to stop? Nope. Well, fair enough. I
But
just
isn't
remember.
there something confident about
Oh
when
yeah.
you're in that age? You don't have to worry about you don't
No.
have to worry about so much. But
No.
who decided that sexy expires at 40, 50, or 60? Because we celebrate fine wine, classic cars, etc., etc. Yet somehow we're taught that when people get older, like, why are they still sexy? Why are they still wanting to have sex? Simply because they've had more birthdays. I've met, I mean, look at Joan Collins. Let's look at Joan Collins. For that woman, even when she's now almost 90 now, but when she was 60, 70, etc., she was sexy. I mean, Sophia Loren,
Yeah.
sexy women, right?
What is it? What is the village in Florida that they have to have a special like STD doctor because all the old people are putting the little things on their damn golf carts going around swapping partners?
Yeah.
And they're like 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. And it's a retirement place in Florida. These people are getting it in.
And why is it that older men end up with dating younger women and older women end up dating younger guys? Look at Cher and Madonna. They've both in their, well, obviously Cher's a little bit older than Madonna, but Madonna's in her 60s and she's dating a guy in his 20s.
It has to be money because her plastic surgeon has done nothing for her. Which
But
Madonna, I know you're a huge fan. Madonna never done it for me. I always thought Trilla Trash that made it, and but like I said, Liz Tyler and all these other women is a whole lot better. But Joan Collins, I always thought Joan was a very very pretty woman.
well, when Joan Collins made The Stud, there was a film she made called The Stud, written by her sister Jackie, and Oliver Tobias was the sex interest in it. There was an uproar that why was this woman in her 40s, doing this role model? And if no one's ever seen The Stud, it's a 70s movie. You want to go back and you want to watch it, and you actually want to see how sexy Joan Collins looks in this movie. And I'm trying to think of Michael Douglas in Basic Instinct with Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone was younger than him, right?
Oh, very much so. But Michael Douglas, he carried himself like that. But that's like I was bringing up, like Tom Selleck, Sam Elliott, and a few of the other guys. And the big hairy chest that hangs out, and and the big push brim mustache and stuff. And like I said, even Carlene's like, he's still.
Oh, somehow we lost Michael and bring him back. I want to look at some of. Sorry, Michael, we lost you there. Let's have a look at some of the. Let's have a look at some of the older guys in the age group we're talking about. Because William Shatner, obviously, I mean, he's what is he? And he's 1993.
Oh no, I have to look. Somebody can look up how old he is. Oh,
yeah, he's 93. I believe he's 93.
How old is Tom Selleck? Carlene can look him up. How old is Tom?
Well, George Clooney, Pierce Brosnan, Idris Elba, and Hugh Jackman. There's a man for you. All in their 60s, right?
And and he's still doing Wolverine.
I would not say no to any of those. They're fine-looking men. Men in their 70s. Sam Elliott, Jeff Bridges. Now there's a sexy man. Jeff Bridges, Kurt Russell, and Richard Gere. I mean, all of them good-looking men, right?
Oh, every time I hear Richard Gere, I think of a gerbil. But anyway, maybe that's an English thing.
Good-looking guy. And then we go to men in their 80s. Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Not many women out there would turn down Harrison Ford. Ian McKellen, Michael Caine, and when he was here, bless him, Robert Redford. All good looking men. I mean, Harrison Ford was in that. What was that? 1938 or something like that?
Yeah. 1820, 1820 or 1929 or
Volume's
something.
gone again. I don't know what's going on. See the technical problems we've had tonight. Tom is 81. I have no idea why this is happening. So, as I said, before we came on tonight, StreamYard was giving us nothing but problems. And it still is now. You guys can still hear me, but we can't hear Michael.
Can you hear me now?
Let me just check that mic. No, it's all working. Come out and come back in, Michael. So let's have a look at women in their certain ages of as well. Women 60, 70, and 80. Let's see who we've got to bring in. Let's see what you guys think. So women in their 60s, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jane Seymour, beautiful looking women, and Helen Mirren. Although I think Helen Mirren's a bit older than that now. Can you hear me, Michael?
Okay, can you hear me now?
No, it's still not working. What is that? Let me know. Women in their 70s, Meryl Streep. I didn't realize Meryl Streep was in her in the 70s. I cannot hear Michael.
All right,
how odd. They can hear you, Michael, but I cannot.
Oh,
how odd is that?
All right.
I cannot hear him. That's really odd. I'm trying to see what I can do about that. Can you guys hear me? Because I can't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hear Michael at all. And I've got all his mic. Let me just get rid of that. Can you hear me, Michael? Because I can't hear.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
How odd is that? Hang on a second. It could be mine. Let me see if I think I just adjust that. Here we go. Yay, it works.
All right, can you hear me now?
It's just I've had nothing but problems with StreamYard, my end. We were saying, Michael, women in their 60s, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jane Seymour, Helen Mirren. Although I think they're older than that. I actually think Helen Mirren and Jane Seymour are in their 70s now.
I was trying to think, because one is Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and the other one she did Red, and she had the Russian guy smelling her shit or whatever. Then she played the Mad Queen. But when Helen turns on like that older, dominant woman that, she like pulled the gun out. She's like, oh, but she
sounds great.
He's like, and the guy opens his shirt. He's like, she did love me. She put 3 rounds in my chest and missed my heart with every one. And I'm thinking, she bad. You know what I'm saying? And the way she even tells, like I said, I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. If you haven't, it's called like Red 1 and Red 2 with Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is another one. He didn't have much hair to start out with when he started with Moonlight. Time he got the Die Hard or whatever, it's like
women loved him. Women loved him. And I mean, Goldie Hawn, I believe, is in her 70s, 80s. She was beautiful, and she still is.
Yeah. And it's like
one of my favorite Goldie Hawn films is House Sitter, where she is with Steve Martin. And women in their 80s, Judi Dench, Judi Dench is sexy, Sophia Loren, Joan Collins, Ali McGraw. These are all good-looking women. Does beauty start with perceived sexy? That's a good question. Is beauty the same thing as sexy? No, I don't think it is.
No, because you could have a sexy, plain-looking woman, like a sexy librarian or whatever, with the glasses and the different things. Could be, sexy, I think, is in the eye of the beholder also. What I find sexy, you might not find sexy, or somebody else might not find sexy.
True.
And I always said that your perception of what you like is individual to you.
I'm gonna look that up though, because literally, is beauty that I don't think it is. I think it's very different. because I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? As they say.
Absolutely.
But I think
Absolutely.
what you find beautiful, other people don't. So beauty is usually about facial features, skin,
Yeah.
hair, physical attractiveness, and people go, "Oh my God, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful." And sexy is about a combination of confidence, body language, eye contact, humor, intelligence, mystery, passion, etc., etc. How you carry yourselves. So I do think they are two different things. I think there's beautiful, and I think there's sexy. Beauty catches your eye, sexy captures your attention. There's a good one for you.
That's it. Put that on a t-shirt. Copyright.
Beauty,
Yes,
yeah, exactly. Beauty,
copyright at Wicked Women, Triple A.
air of mystery is definitely a part of being sexy. Beauty is something you can see. Sexy is something you feel. Beauty may open the door, but confidence, kindness, humor, and authenticity will make sure that that door stays open and is unforgettable.
I just thought of something, and it popped into my head. And like I said, it's not a score, but but we have forgot about Sean Connery. Sean,
Connery, yeah,
Sean Bond. It's like, who's your doctor, who's your captain, who's your Bond. Sean
yeah.
is my Bond. And now Daniel Craig is, and Daniel Craig is my age, and I'm like, damn, he's still out there saving, the kingdom now, or it used to be the queendom, but but you think about sexy. You had Mrs. Moneypenny, Pussy Galore, and all of these women that was like Russian spies or whatever that was trying to get Bond into a honeypot trap. And the way they dressed was but a little sexy, but the way they carried herself, like with loose intentions, or what I'm saying. It was the whole package. It was the way they dressed, the way they presented her.
I didn't think Roger Moore was sexy. I mean, let's looking at Bond. I don't think Roger Moore, and we're coming to this because we will do Men Are Sexy coming up.
Yeah.
But what I was looking at, Michael, is that if a guy was feeling like he wasn't sexy, what advice would you give him to help him feel it and to find the guy he'd forgotten to be?
Me, like I said, I'm still working on that here, and I tell people, you got to do a lot of inner soul searching. You really do, and you got to, and it's not an easy 1, 2, 3 process. And what works for me might not work for the other guy. He might find it easier or harder than what I am. And when you're dealing with like sickness or health, and just the things that life comes by and kicks you in the bollocks with, it's hard. But I'd say just stay on your path. Just
Mm.
um, surround yourself with people that are good.
That's right. It's just feedback. That's all.
Oh,
The thing is, do you think that? Oh God, shut up. Do you think that guys should go down the gym, start losing weight, go and buy
yeah.
different clothes? Do you think that would help?
Oh yeah. Like I said, I always feel better after I go to Sports Clip, and if anybody's in my area needs a good guy haircut, I'd recommend her. Her name is New You. She's a little Asian lady, really sweet. She will do magic to your hair. Every time I come out there, I'll take a picture. I'll send it to Wendy. I'm like, look, New did her magic again, and it's like a transformation from the
Yeah, you
time
do.
the old guy that sits in the chair, and I always see him. I'm like, I don't know where all this gray hair come from, but we need to find him. And and it's like, holy shit. But like I said, just self care. You know what I'm saying? Go by and pay for the extra inning stuff they call. Where they go back and they put the hot towel on your face and do the sinus massage or whatever. And you got to take some time for you. And I'm working
Well,
on
I'm going to bring
doing
up some of the ones for ladies. Like, how do you, ladies, if you are feeling not sexy, you feel like you've lost your way, your man's not making you feel sexy, your life isn't not making you feel sexy. This is kind of like some things that I would give you advice to actually go to do. Wear the dress, buy the perfume, put the lipstick on, book the holiday, dance in your kitchen if you want to, flirt with life again, laugh until your sides hurt, and try something you've always wanted to do. Make sure you do something that makes you feel alive, because
good.
sexy isn't how you look, It's about how you feel. And walk into a room without apologizing. Say no without feeling guilty. Say yes to yourself more often. And it's about setting boundaries. Literally choosing, don't people please. Don't, don't say, yeah, well, I don't want to upset them. So fuck them. Say what you got to say. Bring it out. And also, it's about rediscovering passion. Go to Ann Summers. Buy yourself a toy. Buy 1,000,000 toys if you want to. Buy as much lingerie as you want to. Shut yourself in the room and find out what you're missing. Because, as I always like to say here, ladies, a toy will give you 25 or 30 orgasms, and a man sadly can only give you so many. So, I mean, that's going to make a man feel pretty bad. And I don't mean to make him feel bad, but it's a fact. Guys, if you're feeling crap in that department, and Summers in the UK, they got lots of toys for you as well. And ask yourself a difficult question, ladies. Is it really that your confidence is gone? Or simply have you been living too long in the shadow of someone who stopped appreciating your light? And sometimes getting your sexy back isn't about changing yourself. It's about changing the environment, changing your partner. And she's starting looking at things differently, going, I don't need anyone's approval to be attractive. I don't need permission from society at 50, 60, 70, 80. If I want to wear this, I'm going to wear this. And if I don't like it, too bad. So the woman or the man that you've lost, they aren't lost. They're still there under all those heavy stuff that you're carrying around. Stop putting everyone else first. Start putting yourself first. And maybe today's the day to do it. What do you think of that, Michael?
I'm glad you said Bob toy because I was thinking that. I was going to say, get you a Bob. Bob never breaks your heart. Bob plugs into the wall. Bob's your boy. And I'm glad you said that. I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, do I say this? I'm thinking, do I say this? Because like I said, I'm trying to work on me and trying to be a little more grounded, a little more focused, and a little less unhinged, and make some better decisions. And I'm thinking, damn, I can't believe she said. But you think about it,
but it's true.
Yeah, Victoria's Secret, Victoria, you know what I'm saying? I was gonna say, hell, ladies, put a thong on, you know what I'm saying? Wear it out.
Cover absolutely, your bits and bobs. Because at the end of the day, listen, if I'm not in, I don't live with someone. There's nobody here. It's just me. And it's like, I dress for me. I have the confidence to dress the way I do. And it took me a long time to actually go, I'm taking my power back. And as women, we give our power away. We go, there you go. I love you. All my life, all my power, all my sexiness, and everything's with you. And as long as you love me and we're in a relationship, as you get older, it's not like that. It's about, I'm with you because I want to be. But the moment that you start making me feel good, I'm out of here.
But here's another thing. It's like, no, and the reason I say put your thong on, I don't know a woman, and when I say this, like I said, I've been married, I've heard this, they either have granny panties, which is period panties. Ain't nothing sexy about that. She don't feel sexy in it.
Unless some guys do like them.
Well, I ain't going to kink shame nobody, but okay. Not this guy. You know what I'm saying? Show me a little cheek. You know what I'm saying? Bend over and give me a glimpse of what I may or may not be playing with later. Say, okay. So this is that kind of party.
But doesn't that work with guys? That guys who have got bellies, or guys that wear old socks, or guys that just wear around with their jogging bottoms and their t-shirts and everything.
If you got $2 dick, you put it in fucking Hanes underwear. Now, if you got quality, whatever, you put that damn thing in a nice set of silk boxer. You give her something to look at. You know what I'm saying? It's all about a package print. And people don't think that shit works. Shit. I've had people come in, help me trying to get everything organized for her, and they're like, Michael, you're pretty damn bougie. I was like, I like things on my skin that makes me feel good. And it's like, I figured you'd have old socks and underwear with holes in the ass. I was like, oh, fuck no. I ain't got that on it.
I mean, seriously, without shaming everyone, I think it's like, if you're in a relationship and you're watching this and you want to bring the sexy back, it's not down to just one of you. It's down to both of you. It's down to both of you to make an effort, both of you to, just literally get to a point where you're like, we need to remember who we were when we got together. We need to remember what we used to be like and who we are now, because I still want to fancy you, or and if you don't fancy him anymore, then I have to say, why are you still with them? When I talk about the show tonight, remember the woman that you forgot, take your sexiness back. What I'm actually talking about is the fact that do not give yourself away to someone else. Do not give your power away to another man, another woman, another person. Do not give it away. Hold on to that power. Hold on to being sexy for you. And if someone else finds you sexy, that's brilliant. But too often we give it away. Just remember who you are and take your power back. Be kind to yourself, because at the end of the day, Michael, when we stop caring about what everyone else thinks of us, I mean, a partner, absolutely. If you're with a partner, of course you're going to care what your partner thinks. But also, you got to do what's right for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very well said. And like I said, and I'm going through my things that I'm going through, and it's a fight to find your sexy or find your mojo or find your will. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of your ambition and stuff comes from that. If you got ambition and you got everything going your way, you feel a lot more sexy and a lot more out there for people to look at. And it is a state of mind. Sexy is a state of mind. And then that's like we was talking about, the pictures you put up of like Farrah Fawcett and all them. Talking about Pam Anderson or whatever on Baywatch. There was somebody that cut that suit on her and made her boobs pop out and her ass look great. You know what I'm saying? I've been to a lot of beaches, seen a lot of lifeguards, and them suits don't fit them like that. And like I said, but it goes back to a mindset. It starts here and it radiates out. And when you lose it here, it is very, very hard to get back. But no, I'm thinking.
How did you feel? But let me ask a question here. When you were disabled and you came out of the army and you were disabled, did you feel like who's going to find me attractive? Am I still sexy? Did you feel that?
I had a lot of egos and a lot of hate, and everybody was going to be a victim, and I didn't care. But I did better with women when I was a prick, when I was hateful and had a big ego. I don't know why. They always say nice guys finish last, but it seems like the older I get, the more kinder I get. It's kind of like, oh well, he's not the bad boy no more. But for some reason, bad boys are sexy to women. People with a chip on their shoulder or a bug in their ass or whatever, a bee in their bonnet, as you would say.
But did you still feel sexy?
I was getting it in. And I was in a toxic relationship then, and I had what is it always? And I told people, I had a wife and a mistress and a girl.
And what about after you had the accident? Like, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel helpless. You know what I'm saying? And I had people coming in taking care of me. And I tell these people, I was in ICU, and every one of the nurses down there, I don't know where they found them, but they was all tight scrubs, tattooed, all gorgeous women. I'm sitting there with a catheter, and the woman's like, "Oh, come here, let me clean you up," like I'm some helpless old man. I'm thinking, honey, I really want you to touch me there, but not in this, circumstance. And it does. It fucks with your psyche, and it fucks with your confidence and your ego, and it deflates a lot of it. And now I just don't care no more. And it's like, if I want to be kind of.
But do you not care because you're older and you see it differently, or do you not care because that's not important to you anymore?
It's not important to me anymore. Like I said, when people tells me, "Oh, there's Poseidon's dad," or "There's Mala's dad," or "There's Michael's dad," or the little neighbor, there's Uncle Michael and he wants to hang out with me. I would rather have his approval as a role model than what other people think. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's like, and part of each part
I,
of it is
I
growth.
understand because when I've relapsed and I've
Yeah.
been in bed for sometimes 9 months, or longer than that, I don't feel like I am
No.
this sexy woman. I don't feel, and it's like, why would you want to stay with me? Why would you want to be with me? Because I couldn't be sexy. I couldn't dress sexy. I couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't even walk sometimes because I was so bad. So it was like, how do you keep in a relationship? How do you keep that sexiness going? Because unless you are on the same page and you are so deeply in love and best friends with each other, so many couples won't survive that. They'll look for it elsewhere. I mean, it happened to me. Um, it happened to me, and I was married, and I was in a bad way, and I relapsed. And the next thing you know, I ended up getting a text message at 10 o'clock at night telling me that my marriage was done and dusted. So it happens, and I I didn't feel very sexy then, I got to tell you. But I think now, I think you're right. Experience and confidence takes you to a point where you look back at the insecure person or the ego person you were and thinking, now you look at them and go, this is me. Take me as I am. Take me with what I bring. Yes, I can probably improve on some of this. Yes, I can probably, improve with encouragement and confidence. But at the end of the day, I think we also don't have to anything to prove to anyone else, because I think the only thing we have to prove to is ourselves. Um, and as I say now, even if I'm dying, I've got my lipstick on. I've got to be honest. Um, it's got to be on, even if I'm dying. It's got to
You,
be on.
we had a conversation with one of the ladies that came in from the VA to help me. And like I said, I'm very open about the things that's going on and my health issues. Some days are better than others, and some days, they are godsend. And I won't say her name, but Wendy knows who I'm talking about. And we was doing show prep, and she come in and sat down, and they don't even pay her to come anymore. It's just that we was kind to her, and she was in such a bad relationship that our kindness kind of got her through. And I would look at her, I'm like, lipstick on, head up, fucking tits out. Be the woman you want to be.
Mm.
And she's like, oh, it's so easy for you, or so easy for her. And I told her, like I said, I ain't gonna say her name, I ain't gonna put her on blast. She's really sweet. She's good to me and the dogs. And I told her, I said, God damn, you've seen me. Some days I can't get out of bed early. I'm hunched over. The nerves are pinching in my back. I said, and Wendy has health issues too. I said, but we don't let them define us. And I said, you don't need to be, you don't need anybody in your life that's going to call you fucking stupid on your birthday. You don't need anybody that's going to put you down. I said, and now I got a message the other day. And she got out of the situation, and she told Wendy. And I told her, I said, look, girl, head up, lipstick on, tits out. Be who you are. And I don't know if me and Wendy's, we're sitting right here. She was, I think, no, I had you on the phone set up
Well,
here.
I think also she'd given her power away, and that's the
Mhm.
thing we do in relationships. We give our power
Yeah.
away. We just
And
go, oh, here you are, take it, look
yeah,
after it. They don't, or if you're
I just,
lucky, they do, but most of the time they don't. And then he berated her. He not only did he rip her apart, he berated her. So what confidence she had, she was
you shit
being
on
chipped away bit by bit by bit. And I watched her,
them.
you know. And I think if you it takes nothing to rebuild someone with a bit of confidence, kind words, and encouragement. Because who knows? There, but for the grace of God, go I.
That's it. And we've always said, and we have things happen behind the scenes or whatever, and everything ain't always roses, and we don't always, we work good together, but we don't always agree. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing I say. You praise in public and you chastise in private.
Mm.
And I will tell you, I get chastised a lot. I get the shit bollocked out of me. But you know what? Jokes on her. I'm kind of into that shit because that's my kink. But anyway, and but no, it's like we always said, if we could just help one person, however many shows we've done, this is show 70. If we just reach one person and make a difference in one person's life, it is worth it. And
Indeed.
and like I said, and that's one I think that we made a positive difference in. And she watches the show, but the difference we made was off camera behind the scenes.
And I think anyone can do that. Watching this, anyone can make a difference. But there's a on my Instagram. I have this one word on my page, and it came from actually a Doctor Who episode with Peter Capaldi in it, and I always have it as my motto, and it says, "Never be cruel, never be cowardly. Hate is always foolish. Love is always wise. Love hard, laugh hard, be kind, make a difference." And it's like, I think that men or women that berate someone and bring them down to nothing,
For sure.
basically are lower than pond scum. And they're doing it for their own reasons and their own insecurities, or their narcissists, or whatever word you wanna put them down. But I also think women and men give their powers away on a regular basis, and they shouldn't. They should actually hold on to that, because it takes a lifetime to actually find it and hold on to it, because we're going through insecurity, ego, and all kinds of stuff. And once you get to this age of 40s, 50s, going into your 60s, you are looking at life in even 70s, 80s, going into a completely different way. And it's like, why did I give? I look back at some of the relationships. Why did I give everything to that man and that relationship when they didn't cherish it and they didn't treasure it? But I did, and the one person who I gave it to, who did cherish it, I left because I was so in my head, like now you look back with so much hindsight.
Yeah, that's it. And like I said, when you, like I said, short notice, I was like, because like I said, you never know who we may reach, and and if this is an opportunity to reach that, so somebody can take their power back or get it back, or go on the journey with me while I get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? I tell them, buckle up. It's gonna be a hell of a shit show. It's gonna be a good ride. You know what I'm saying? But no, like I said, when you see that you made a positive difference in somebody's life, no, it does give you the confidence to keep getting in front of the camera and talking. I don't talk like I've got a Harvard degree. Never have, never will. And I just try to talk with common sense from an old cowboy or an old hillbilly here in the hills of Appalachia.
Well, I would disagree, because at the end of the day, 20 years in the military gives you quite a lot of experience of people.
And
you've also undertaken a counseling course, so at the end of the day, you are, more than that.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I told somebody that day. I said, "That's my cowboy wisdom." You know what I'm saying? I still have the cowboy hat. I got the boots. I'd rather wear hay dudes. My back hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Let's just look at that though, because before we end this subject, like, you and I have been doing Wicked Women a long time. We've been doing it almost 3 years, and we've had lots of lovely ladies come on and join us, and we'd love more men to come on and join us, but men seem to like to watch it and not want to join. But that's fine. If they learn from something, they do. But I mean, I'm coming from 30 years of counseling and coaching, and also entrepreneur. I deal with people from all different walks of life, all different ages, celebrity to down to children. And at the end of the day, I treat everybody exactly the same, because I would want to be treated how I would treat someone, which is like down to earth, open, honest, friendly. And I think when I discovered I came out of a relationship and felt not sexy, not wanted, had given my power away, and this was at the tender age of 47, it took me a while to get it back, because I gave it away again.
So yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, I wish. I wish. I hope that, people have learned a little bit. What we're talking about is basically you have to feel sexy for yourself, not for your partner, not for anyone else, for yourself. If you want to wear stockings, hold ups, peephole bras, go down Ann Summers, buy toys. If you think that's the way to feel sexy, go do it. If you feel going down the gym, working out, getting a new job, mixing with positive people, eating well, and getting out of a bad relationship is going to help you feel sexy, absolutely do it.
Hey, we've seen the positive. We've seen the positive outcome of that, haven't we? It goes back to what I said. It was almost like the butterfly that came out of the cocoon, and I'm thinking, we helped with that, or I was going to say we did that, but you know what I'm saying. But I think that we kind of give her the push and say, look, you're more than that. You deserve more. Nobody deserves to be treated like shit.
Nobody.
And every time she went home, that's all she heard was, "You're a piece of shit. You're stupid. You can't do anything fucking right." And sooner or later, it chips down at you, no matter how strong of a man or a woman you are.
That's a good point, though. Let's just pick that up. If a man if a man is confident in himself and in his power, he will not find the need to bring a woman down. If a woman is confident in her power and in how she looks, she will not feel the need to bring a guy down. What you do is enhance someone, encourage them, don't berate them. You enhance them, you encourage them. Because at the end of the day, people tend to respond better to enhancement and encouragement than berating. I hope that in 20 years' time, when I'm blah, 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 blah age, I still look pretty good. I want to look like Donna Mills. She's 82 and she looks amazing. And even if that means she's probably had a little bit of work, but hey, if it works for her. Michael, I know that you weren't 100% ready for this show, but thank you for coming on. And
no, I'll sit here in studios are ready. We're redoing things.
I just want to bring this up. Where is it? This one here to show. This is one of the new logos that we're bringing out for Wicked Women. We still might use the witchy one from time to time, but this is the new one, which is WW with the crown, which to talk about and it means empowerment and power. So at the end of the day, I really like this because it actually shows what Wicked Women's all about: empowering, confidence, strength, and power. So this is the thing. Maybe Val might do a new cut with it or whatever, but this is the new one that we will use a lot more. Also, I want to bring in that we're going to have some great shows coming up in the next. As I said, this is number 70. In the next couple of weeks, we have some great shows coming up. Let me bring up the list of them that are coming up. Next week, I'm so excited because I have followed this lady for so long. She is awesome, and I just can't wait to have her on here. And actually, we've had a lot of male guests, but we've not had a lot of lady guests. We only had like bless her, I can't remember her name, from Macedonia. We actually have a great lady coming on next week, Dawn Anna Williamson. You can find her on YouTube. She does Carry by Dawn. Have a look at it. Honestly, I would recommend you tune in next week. It's going to be a really good show. The following week after that will be Where Do You Belong? And that we're not going to tell you more about that. You're just going to have to watch. The week after that, Michael will be very excited. Paul Allen is back with Brookwood and Beyond. He's coming back to talk about more Brookwood Cemetery and more of the adventures that he'd already been through. And then we go to the going into the 9th of the 8th, we have Beyond the Six Pack, What Women Find Sexy About Men. So they're the shows that we've got coming out.
That's what they got. They want the keg, you get older, look like you can eat.
So please watch next week with Dawn Anna Williamson. It's going to be a great show. Where Do You Belong? Brookwood and Beyond with Paul Allen, and then beyond the 6-pack. And then Wicked Women will probably take a break for a couple of weeks after that, because I have 2 Sundays full with the Impala, but it's looking good. So we got some great shows. We come back with a bit of a bang. Do you not think, Michael?
Absolutely. And I heard that you was talking to Charlie the other day, and
I
and
am.
Charlie should be back soon too.
Yes,
And like I
Charlie's
said,
come back with
Charlie she brings a very
unique
uh,
energy.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I heard scratching on here, shit falling off my walls. I'm like, this woman's intact with, through the firmament. I'm like, and I heard Wendy talking to her the other day. And I was like, you know
I think
what?
she's gonna come on round about Halloween time, October time, which
That
would
means
be
really my
awesome.
shit's involved. You know what I'm saying? I've been redoing the things like, people can see We the People. It's Muggy here, or the door would be shut. You can see more of that. America would turn 250 years July the 4th, which I was hoping we'd do like a 4th of July show, but I get it. The British, don't like us traitors very much. But
there also is another guest that I haven't told anybody about. This gentleman, we have an amazing guest coming on, probably September now. He is a writer, researcher, TV presenter, and also he's kind of got a finger in many pies. He's fascinating to fascinating to listen to. So we have other guests coming on, but I'm fascinated to listen to Dawn next week, because I'm really interested in the stuff she does. So please come back and watch that. Michael, what's your week like coming? Anything good?
Rain, lots and lots of rain. So
Yes,
anything
I'm
outside, anything outside is postponed. So just more of the remodeling in here and getting out of the old and bringing in new, or not a whole lot of new, and just keep driving forward, on the thing that I got. I know a bunch of paperwork came up.
I'm depressingly looking at the weather for London. We have another 30 degrees, 29, and potentially where it was going to rain on Tuesday and Thursday, it's now gone to Friday. I'm so done with Satan's weather. Please take it back.
Tell people what 20 or 30 is in Fahrenheit, because for our American viewers, they probably are lost. I have to ask Google what that is. Well,
I'm also like, we've got like different openings and etc. now. We're all doing different things, but I really like that new logo. I really like that. I think, let me bring up the banner.
Okay.
Let me ever bring this banner back a second. Where's the other one we've got? Another one is this one here.
All right, here we go. Oh, 86. Oh, 86. 86 ain't bad. Across 2 worlds.
Cool.
I like it. And
I like this one. It's true. Well, I mean, thank you everybody for watching tonight. It's good to be back. Thank you so much I was watching all the people joining us from YouTube and etc. Thank you so much. It's our first week back after being gone for a little while, and we do have to take breaks. We've all got health issues, so we come and go, but we always return. Please watch us next week. Michael, tell us the times that we will be back next week.
It's 9 o'clock UK time, 4 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Central time, 2 o'clock Mountain time, which is also California time right now. And
Absolutely.
I was going to tell Steve. Steve needs to pop on before the show with us more. We love Steve to death. Steve.
It's nice to talk to you again, Steve. It's nice to hear from you.
It is, because like I said, Steve. I said he's a loyal Wicked. You know what I'm saying? He's part of the Wicked crew.
It's nice to have the family, isn't it?
It is, and like I said, Steve means a lot to me and Wendy both, and for Carlene and everyone, and everybody that comes in and Hulk, and it's like, but no, when I see that he's talking about the idioms or whatever another, and I tell people, the Army sent me to charm school. My grandmother beat some common sense into me. And the older I get, the more I hear the things that these older, well, there's older then, now they're like my age, so I don't know.
But it's like, it's like, all right, don't mash your peas, you're gonna end up a shit soup. And I'm thinking, growing up, I'm thinking, that was the dumbest stuff. But I'm thinking, what the fuck are,
But as you get older, it
Yeah,
starts to look
that's it,
wiser,
yeah.
doesn't it? I know. Okay, so we're going to call it quits now. Thank you
Yes,
for everyone that's enjoyed us. Michael, thank you for joining me tonight.
Likewise.
And I just want to leave everyone with this. Thank you for joining us on Wicked Women. Thank you for the support. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribe. We truly appreciate everything that you guys stay with us, even when we have our technical problems. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other. Take your power back and never forget the woman that you truly are and the guy that you truly are. I will see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye. I've got to make sure I got this right because we are going out completely different. So let's see how it's going to take us out. Because this is all different. This will do. Right. See you next week. Take care, guys. And out. It's going to go any minute. Play.